The season opener for the Hidden Trails Yamaha Pro Watercross Tour kicks off today from Panama City Beach, Florida, along what many consider to be one of the world's most beautiful beaches.
With the white sand beaches and the blue water is gorgeous.
Hands down, you gotta come. Every year it's the most beautiful sandy beach, most beautiful water.
Past champions and current pro watercross legends are set to collide with some young hotshots who have dreams of their own.
Came here to get the title, and I will try to get the 3 title.
Hello everyone, I'm Ian Howard and welcome to what can only be described as heaven on earth if you're a pro watercross racer. White sand, emerald blue water, and perfect temperatures for the season opener right here from Panama City Beach, Florida. And before we get underway, let's first visit with Don Dawson for this update.
Welcome to PCB, as they fondly call it here, if you're a native Floridian. But I tell you what, we have invaded with a new species. I'm talking about all the great innovations that we have seen for 2015 in the Runabout and the stand-up division. And of course, if we have a little extra time, we might try to get a tan.
We have a new class added to the broadcast this year, and here's Don Dawson once again with this update. Don?
Sport GP is going to be going to the big dance on the national tour this year. Again, we've got a ton of riders, to include a lot of the riders coming out of the woodwork that haven't raced in a while. It was great to see Billy Dearman showing up at the first national tour here in Panama City Beach. I can't wait to see who else is going to be in this lineup on Saturday and Sunday.
And Billy Dearman, a longtime racer on the tour who left to start a family, will be challenged by a tough lineup, including 3-time defending champion Glenn Young of Austin, Florida. We'll have an onboard camera that aboard Sam Nemi from Cooper City, Florida. So Sport GP, part of the main event now over the weekend, is off and racing. And quickly, Sam Nemi from Cooper City, Florida, unable to fire off the line, so he is left behind. But speaking about this Sport GP class, these were skis last manufactured by Yamaha, known as the Old Blasters, back in 1996. As Kelly Smith will check out from Ludington, Michigan, and get the whole shot. And though there still are some of the old Yamaha Blasters in the field, there are many new carbon hulls now that meet the old Yamaha specs, led by Bullet and Trinity. No turbochargers or superchargers are allowed, normally aspirated, and running a 1200cc triple 2-cylinder motor found in the older runabouts. And Kelly Smith up front with that whole shot. And we heard Don Dawson talk about the reason for Billy Dearman returning to the sport, and he told us why he came back.
We picked Sport GP because the turnout over the past few years has been bigger than any other class.
So Sam Nemi to the sidelines, some issues at the start line, and Kelly Smith would go on for the Moto win. So Smith victorious in Moto 1. Quickly now to Moto number 2. Could Smith once again go wire to wire, as he and the other 13 riders in the field would go down that front straightaway? And once again, Kelly Smith from Ludington, Michigan would get the whole shot on a backup ski, and he would be chased down by Sam Nemi in his backup ski as well. So Nemi's second, and Kelly Dill from Naples, Florida, back in third. And Mike Bartolomeo of the Optima Racing team would go in the Gulf Waters. In his first Moto and Sport GP, he would finish up 10th. Another look at it, he would hook the ski in the turn, he would go in the Gulf Waters, while his ski became a Ghost Rider. Bartolomeo would be okay and return to the race again, finishing 10th. And Kelly Smith would once again go wire to wire for his second consecutive Moto win. So Smith victorious once again. Moto number 3, 14 skis back in there, and Sam Nemi on his backup ski after a 13th place finish in Moto 1, second in Moto number 2, and looking for an even stronger showing here in Moto number 3. But up front early on in this one, it would be Keith Dill who would record the whole shot, his first of the weekend, followed by Johnny Smith and then Kelly Smith, no relation, who had won the opening 2 motos, who filled us in on why he enjoys racing Sport GP.
Kind of affordable, and they're a fun class because they're like that in between. They're not a runabout, they're not a stand-up ski, so there's some extra challenge there versus a runabout. And you know, they're really competitive, whether you're on an HX or a Blaster. You know, we've got a lot of guys out here from all over the U.S. that are kind of, you know, like you said, making a comeback for this class anyway. That's a thing that's not manufactured anymore.
And Kelly Smith would have some work to do, as he would go to work first on Johnny Smith, who checked out in second place behind Keith Dill. He would make the pass, moving into that second position behind the leader, Keith Dill. And then with the caution flag out, Smith would get past the leader, Dill, moving into that first position. So Kelly Smith not being denied. In the first round of racing here for Panama City Beach, Florida, he would make it 3 consecutive Moto wins to open up the season. So is Smith, Dill, Johnny Smith, Dearman, and Nemi your top 5.
I'm not real experienced with these, but you know, Brian O, my team manager and a fellow competitor, he's had some more time on him. He gave me pointers to sit down a lot more, and it definitely seemed to work. And you know, God bless us with a win here on this first one. We're looking forward to what the next motos bring.
Coverage of round one of the Pro Watercross Tour, the Super Cup of Watercross, has been made possible by Panama City Beach, the Boardwalk Beach Resort, Hidden Trails Motorsports, Yamaha, Sea-Doo, and by these fine sponsors.
Limitations, like fears, are often just illusion. Naples will test their limits. Pro Watercross World Championship. September, Naples.
Today, I'm a pirate. Yesterday, I was a CPA. But today, I am a pirate. Just me, the captain, and a couple of scallywags. A little pillaging, a little plundering, a little hoisting the Jolly Roger. You know, pirate stuff.
See fun your way at Panama City Beach.
Panama City Beach is known as the Emerald Coast. You can tell by our nice green water. It's crystal clear. Our beaches are white. You know, a lot of places claim to be white. Our beaches really are. We have about 30 miles of beach to enjoy. We do have the condos and the houses right on the beach, so you can just get out of bed and come to the beach. We also are pretty unique that we have nightclubs and restaurants right on the beach too. So it's just a great place to be, relax. Our slogan is kind of real fun beach. So you come here, have fun. We're not a big destination. We only have 13,000 citizens. We get about 12 million visitors a year. You can go to our website, visit PanamaCityBeach.com, or look on Facebook too. We have a real big following on there, very active there.
And thanks to Chris O'Brien from Panama City Beach for filling us in on this beautiful region of the country. And up next would be Freestyle, as all the big guns would be out, including Jace Forrest from Austin, Texas, who would make his debut on the tour this year. Forrest, your reigning national champion from a year ago, would come out and show off all his tricks here in the Pro Freestyle as the fans would look on. Forrest, a lot of Pro Freestyle experience, would string together a nice array of tricks. Back and forth he'd go as Daniel Martin would wait for his turn on the water. And Forrest, a nice array of backflips, much to the pleasure of three-time national champion Jason the Destroyer Stoyer looking on as he would await his turn as well. And Forrest would conclude his routine with Daniel Martin waiting in the wings. And Martin would attempt to go big right off the bat, attempting a double backflip reminiscent of last year, but it wouldn't go as well as you'd watch it on replay. He would catch the wave, then go airborne, but come up short on his second rotation. The ski would come down on top of the young rider as he would be helped off the water, but Daniel Martin from Azle, Texas might be shaken up, but not knocked out. Instead, he would come back on the water, a little banged up, but he would go to work. And Martin would string together a nice array of tricks, looking to carry the momentum here in round number one and win the day, trying to best that of his teammate Jace Forrest, his fellow Texan. Fans taking in the sunshine here along the Gulf waters, and a big aerial maneuver there by Daniel Martin as he would wrap up his routine. So Martin would conclude his routine with a pair of tricks, and good to see him on the water after being shaken up early on. Jason Stoyer from Clearwater, Florida would be the third and final Pro Freestyler on the water, a three-time former Pro Freestyle national champion, and he would get it going early on with some very big tricks. Then he'd put together multiple backflips along the Gulf of Mexico as he would try to carry the momentum, being the final rider on the water and impress the judges. Fans looking on in amazement at the Destroyer for what he's able to do. Big backflip as Destroyer would string together a nice array of tricks, not getting a lot of amplitude, but still very effective. Stoyer then big off a wave, again into a backflip, as he would settle in to the delight of Daniel Martin. Stoyer then with his routine wrapping up, again over a big wave. So congratulations to the Destroyer for taking home the overall here in round one.
Of course, Extreme, that's our team. Can't forget about them. HydroTurf, Jet Pilot, Jazz Fuel, VP Racing, everybody who helps out for sure. And of course, Pro Watercross Tour. Big thanks to AJ and all the staff, you Mike guys, for stepping it up and giving us an arena to do what we do.
Welcome back to the season opener of the Hidden Trails Yamaha Pro Watercross Tour from Panama City Beach, Florida. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ian Howard. Well, our fastest class is set to take on the waters here of the Gulf of Mexico and showcase their stuff. Lots of modifications allowed, superchargers, turbochargers, anything pretty much goes. To the Pro-Am Runabout Open class, the field led by Arminio Iantoska, second in the points last year, and we see the return of Abdullah Al-Fadel from Kuwait. He was the 2013 national champion. And right off the bat, he's Sea-Doo's very own Arminio Iantoska from Naples, Florida. He would check out and get the whole shot, as Abdullah Al-Fadel from Team Yamaha would check out second. So the rider from Naples, Florida, very familiar with the Gulf waters, would get the whole shot and be the leader early on. Fast forward then to lap number 4, and things would go terribly wrong for the leader, Iantoska, who would suffer engine failure and not only be knocked out of the moto, but the entire weekend of racing. Arminio's hopes of winning round number 1 would be dashed, as Abdullah Al-Fadel would cruise to victory, and Iantoska would instead have to walk the beach back to the pits, wondering what might have been. And soon thereafter, Don Dawson filled us in with this update from the Sea-Doo tent.
It's not very often that I don't see anybody underneath the Sea-Doo tent. The reason for that, Arminio Iantoska in qualifying yesterday had a horrendous breakdown on the boat, catastrophic in fact, a lot of work to that engine, and now he's got to go back and start from scratch. Tough break for Arminio Iantoska, but I'll tell you, the field of competitors in this Pro-Am Open is unbelievable, so I can't wait to see what happens with Runabout. But we are sad that we've lost part of our family for the first tour stop.
And without being challenged by one of the favorites in Arminio Iantoska, who finished second at the points last year, it would be all Abdullah Al-Fadel, the young rider from Kuwait, would go 1-1 in Motos 2 and 3 and cruise to an overall here in round number 1, and for good measure, take a plunge in the Gulf waters to cool off there afterwards. So your round 1 overall results have Al-Fadel, Snyder, Osborne, Bellamy, and Iantoska rounding out your field.
I'd like to thank Yamaha Factory Racing, Dean Cherrier to build me a fast boat, Dustin Cherrier, my brother, he helped me a lot, and that's it, man.
And from Pro-Am Runabout Open, we move now to Pro-Am Runabout Stock. And for more on what's going to take place, let's go down to the pits, where Don Dawson is standing by.
He's a 2013 defending champion on the national tour and the first international rider to take a national tour title. And he is back in 2015, and let me tell you, he's already making his presence known. It's Abdullah Al-Fadel, and he is on charge in 3 premium classes.
So Abdullah Al-Fadel from Kuwait City, Kuwait, a very busy rider this weekend, as he would be joined by 7 other very hungry and determined competitors in this Pro-Am Runabout stock field, and Moto 1 of 3 would be off and running on this mile course marked by 20 buoys here in the Gulf of Mexico, as we go on board with Brian Baldwin from Denver, North Carolina, owns Champion Motorsports, as he would give us that onboard perspective. But checking out with the whole shot down the front straightaway would be Abdullah Al-Fadel, as he would try to hold off the entire field. So stock runabout, truly the manufacturer's class. You have Kawasaki's, Yamahas, and Sea-Doos all represented out here. As they say, race them on Sunday, buy them on Monday, as Baldwin would give us that bird's eye perspective. Fast forward then to lap number 5, and Eric Francis, who won the title back in 2012, would go for a swim as he would lose control of his ski.
Had a little bobble on the far left side of the track, basically slipped. I fell into the footwell of the ski, and the ski started tipping over. I had to jump off the ski and pick it back up because it was rolling on its bottom side.
So Francis would do a great job of just holding on to his ski, but Abdullah Al-Fadel would cruise to victory in the meantime, picking up the Moto win. Moto number 2, same field out there, as Abdullah Al-Fadel, racing for Dean's team Yamaha, would look to go wire to wire once again, and he would be challenged this time by Brian Baldwin, a teammate on Dean's team Yamaha, and it would be the teammate Baldwin who would check out and get the whole shot coming from the inside, as he would outrace Abdullah Al-Fadel to the front straightaway.
He was right there, and I just kept it clamped and paid attention to what I was doing and put the hammer down.
So Baldwin, who has never had a top 3 finish in his racing career in Pro-Am Runabout stock, would look to push away from Abdullah Al-Fadel, who would go off his ski in the Gulf.
Yeah, it's rough water there. Like, I think it's 3 to 4 feet, something like that. But,
So Al-Fadel, admittedly pushing too hard in the rough, choppy waters here of the Gulf of Mexico, would go off his ski, and that would allow Brian Baldwin to cruise to victory. Third and final moto for Pro-Am Runabout stock, and it would be a battle between Baldwin and Al-Fadel to see who would take home the title here in round number 1 as we go on board once again with Brian Baldwin, champion motorsports racing for Dean's team Yamaha, as he would be pitted against his Yamaha teammate Abdullah Al-Fadel, and the white ski of Brian Baldwin to the inside would outrace Abdullah Al-Fadel through the buoys to the front straightaway as he would record the hole shot. So it would be Baldwin, Al-Fadel, your top 2 riders under green flag racing conditions. So Baldwin looking for the overall out in front, Al-Fadel right behind him in second place as we move to lap number 4, and Baldwin knew he had to hold off Al-Fadel, who's making up plenty of ground.
The sharp corners, I would kind of use my peripheral vision to see where he was. The main thing I wanted to do was just, ride a steady race.
So with Snyder leading at Al-Fadel second, Chris Saxon trying to make up some ground would go in the water. The young rider from Orange Beach, Florida would later finish up in 7th place, and Brian Baldwin would have the best weekend of his racing career in Pro-Am Runabout stock, recording his 2nd consecutive moto win. So it'd be Baldwin taking the overall, Francis second, Al-Fadel third, with Zelasco and Snyder rounding out your top 5.
Reva Yamaha, Dean's team, Judge Motorsports, Fly Racing, Jet Lift, and I just couldn't do it without everybody that supported us.
Coverage of round 1 of the Pro Watercross Tour, the Super Cup of Watercross, has been made possible by Panama City Beach, the Boardwalk Beach Resort, Hidden Trails Motorsports, Yamaha, Sea-Doo, and by these fine sponsors. Welcome back to the season opener of the Hidden Trails Yamaha Pro Watercross Tour from Panama City Beach, Florida. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ian Howard. Well, GP Ski is set to take on the waters next. Before we get underway, let's get this update from Don Dawson.
We got a brand new format for the 2015 Hidden Trails Pro Watercross Tour for the ski division. So Ski GP is going to be going into heats, and then straight from the heat racing and qualifying, they're going to be going to one main event. Let's see what happens with this brand new format brought to you by the Pro Watercross Tour and Hidden Trails, our new title sponsor.
And qualification heat number 1 wouldn't start as planned for 2-time former ski world champion Dustin Matsouras, as he would have to go to a backup ski.
It's the duck bill, which is just a part of the little drainage system on the back of the ski. It stops water from coming into the ski but lets it out when you're riding. So when I pulled up onto the start line, the boat just literally started sinking.
And Dustin Matsouras, having to go to his backup ski, would get to the line just in time for the start of qualification heat number 1, part of this 10-ski field. Matsouras, a 2-time former ski world champion, would have to start to the far outside and make up a lot of ground on the leaders if he hoped to qualify with a good lane choice for the all-important winner-take-all final for GP Ski held later on. And how about that? Jimmy Wilson, the firefighter from Sanford, North Carolina, would record the hole shot as he would work to the outside split. Working to the inside split would also be a 2-time former ski world champion. And Chris McCluggage from Lake Havasu City, Arizona, would be Wilson up front, and he would credit his team behind him for helping him record the hole shot.
The hole shot on the practice boat, which is always a good thing to know that you got two solid guns in the sitting on the beach ready to go.
But the lead would be short-lived for Jimmy Wilson as Chris McCluggage would get past him, and McCluggage would credit his experience racing in the Gulf waters for helping him get past the leader.
I think in the surf here, it's not really such a big deal, like where you start the race. Like always, it's where you finish.
Moving ahead to lap number 4, and a battle would ensue for the second spot on the race course as Dustin Matsouras, right of your screen, would get past Jimmy Wilson.
I was able to get up to second at one point, but then to be honest with you, I was borrowing a boat and I didn't want to destroy somebody else's skis.
Moving ahead 2 laps to lap number 6, and the battle would continue between the 2 riders as Matsouras this time would be overtaken by Jimmy Wilson, who would reclaim second place. And with the checkered flag out, Chris Big Mac McCluggage, as he's affectionately known, originally from Naples, Florida, now from Lake Havasu City, Arizona, would take home the qualification heat victory. Heat number 2 for GP Ski. 10 more skis out there as the water conditions would look to become a little bit rougher And the question would be, who would record the hole shot? And it would be the young hotshot Cody Copenhaver from Surprise, Arizona.
I hole shotted, had a good lead, and then the ski had some mechanical problems. So
unfortunately, the lead would be short-lived for Copenhaver as he would have mechanical issues. And then Gary Windrex, who would assume the lead, would be overtaken by Rob Flores.
When I pulled up behind Windrex and he had the lead after Copenhaver broke, I knew it was just a matter of time until he got tired.
So Flores with the come from behind qualification heat victory. He also records the fastest heat time. And let's visit with Don Dawson once again.
Well, I talked about this new format, and you can get in a couple of ways. So you could win your first heat race, which was Chris McCluggage. You could win the second heat race. That was Rob Flores, who, by the way, had the fastest heat race. Or you can make it in through the LCQ, and that's what this young gun did. Cody Copenhaver had a breakdown in the first one, so he had to do it the hard way, but you could still get in. Now the excitement's going to be at the main event.
And thanks, Don, for that update. Rob Flores on the pole after recording the fastest time in his qualification heat. Chris McCluggage right behind him in lane number 2 as we'd await the start, and all the skiers would go down the front straightaway here on the Gulf of Mexico. 20 riders in all in a very big lineup. And the winner would take all here in round number 1 from Panama City Beach, Florida. The question would be, who would record the hole shot? And you see the green nose on that ski up front. It would be none other than Chris McCluggage, a 2-time former ski world champion, and he would show the rest of the field how to get around the first lap the quickest. So it'd be Mac on top early on. Jimmy Wilson would run second, Dustin Montsuris then third.
The Gulf, you either have a lot of wind or some kind of disturbance in the ocean that makes waves, and I think that's what really helped me be able to ride in this type of conditions. It was my father pushing me when I was younger to go out and ride.
Lap number 2, as you heard from Chris McCluggage, talking about all the experience he has competing here on the Gulf of Mexico, and the battle for 5th place would ensue, and it would be a great battle. Rob Flores just ahead of the youngster Cody Copenhaver, almost a generation in terms of age difference. Flores racing as a professional since 1988. Meanwhile, Copenhaver, in just his 3rd season pro GP ski ranks, would overtake Flores. So Copenhaver into that 5th spot. The veteran Rob Flores then would have to settle into 6th. And on the final lap, crossing the finish line first, going wire to wire, and the winner-take-all final moto for GP ski would be Chris McCluggage. As he would record the win, it would be McCluggage, Wilson, Montsuris, Brock Austin, and Cody Copenhaver rounding out your top 5.
We dominated from start to finish. Was a little late off the line, but geez, I think I pulled the field by 5 miles an hour after the boat hooked up, and that thing was gone. The first lap, we pulled probably 10-second lead and just kept extending it.
So that'll do it from Panama City Beach, Florida. The next stop will be from right up the road in Pensacola, Florida. So on behalf of our entire crew, I'm Ian Howard saying so long, and we'll see you next time right back here on the water.